What's up, people? Good morning. It is Black Monday, and we've got some news that directly affects the Seahawks. So let's talk about it for a minute here. A lot of people saw this coming. I think some people didn't. I was really on the fence on whether or not this would happen personally. It made sense, but at the same time, I don't think it made complete sense. So I was just kind of sitting back waiting to see what would happen, but well, it happened. The Arizona Cardinals, a couple hours ago, have fired Kliff Kingsbury. And keep in mind, they gave him a contract extension just last year. Less than one, less than 1 year ago, they extended him to a big money deal. So they're going to be eating a lot of money on that one. But Kliff Kingsbury is gone. And look, as a Seahawks fan, I'm kind of indifferent on this one. Obviously, I didn't fear Kingsbury. His offense didn't seem to work that well against the Seahawks. It's not like he was beating up on the Seahawks the way that Sean McVay did back when he had a really good offense or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm not sure I think Kingsbury's like a bad coach. I think that this is just kind of a move they had to make because the results had been pretty bad. And they just kind of felt obligated after a year in which they're picking in the top five, right after they gave a quarterback almost $250 million. So they just kind of felt like they had to do it. I'm not sure if this is really the right move. And I'm not sure what this means for the future of that team, the short term future of that team. It's Kingsbury, as much as he and Kyler seem to have friction, was a coach who was willing to cultivate his offense around that specific player. It's going to be hard to find another coach who's willing to do that. It's also going to be hard to find a coach who's willing to go into that situation where the Cardinals limited money, players who are getting older, like J.J. Watt straight up retiring, but you've also got DeAndre Hopkins. Is D-Hop going to ever be a top five receiver again? I don't know if I'm seeing that. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that situation that you look at and you go, that is not a desirable job. They have some recent top picks, guys like Zaven Collins, guys like Isaiah Simmons, who I don't know if they're really blue chippers going forward. So it's going to be kind of hard to find a really good coach now. So you look at Kingsbury's record so far as a coach over the 4 years he was in Arizona. He kind of, you look at this and you kind of go, okay, the guy had to go, right? The guy just had to get fired. He had one good season, and in that season, the team completely fell apart at the end and barely got into the playoffs. And then when they did get into the playoffs, got completely demolished. So 28, 37, and 1 as a record, 43% winning, and plus the playoff loss. It's you kind of have to go at a certain point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. Like, the results are just not there. He had 4 years to implement his vision, 4 years to implement what he wanted to do. He was able to spend his top pick on Kyler Murray back when he first got there. He was able to bring in guys on trades like Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. And not only was the team only able to have a successful winning record that one time in 2021, which ended up amounting to very little. But if you actually look at it, if you scroll down here and look at the team ranks, points per game, he never managed to put together a top 10 offense. At no point in Kingsbury's tenure did that team manage to have a top 10 offense, and that's why they brought him to Arizona, because of his offense. And he was able to make picks for the offense. He was able to spend money on the offense. And the best he could do was 11th in the league in 2021. Now, of course, they also never managed to have a top 10 defense in terms of points scored. So the blame is spread around. But you look at these results and it kind of adds up why they just kind of had to go. But I am kind of wondering personally, are you going to be able to? Not only is it going to be hard to find a coach who's willing to come into that bad situation, with Kyler sitting on that giant contract, having torn his ACL, not going to be back for September, D Hop getting older, J.J. Watt retiring, and I know J.J. Watt's retiring, but he was one of their better players last year. He was actually pretty productive for them, so that's a significant loss. And are you going to be able to find a coach willing to build the offense around Kyler the way Kliff Kingsbury was? Like, I think it was Larry Fitzgerald's dad said, Kyler got to bring his college offense with him when he went to the NFL. You bring in another coach. Is that coach going to be willing to do that? Is that coach going to be willing to say, okay, no under center stuff, we're doing 100% shotgun? We're doing air raid all the time? I don't know. I don't see it. So it's going to be tough. So Kingsbury's gone, and Steve Keim also gone. He may stay with the organization, but Steve Keim has also been axed as the GM of the Cardinals after a decade there and almost 25 years with the organization. Again, he might stay with the organization, but that remains to be seen. And this is obviously a big shakeup because also, if you will remember, Steve Keim was extended last offseason. So the Cardinals, the Bidwells, are going to be spending a lot of money on coaches and GMs who are no longer going to be there. And no owner likes to do that. But they correctly recognized that the results were just not good enough. Keim had been the GM there for a decade. He had overseen the disastrous Josh Rosen pick in, I think it was 2018, that lasted one season before they moved on. He had overseen the Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins 1-2 that looks like it's not really going to work out that well. Neither guy looks like a future all-pro linebacker. He had overseen some good stuff as well. He had spent big on that team in recent off seasons, going after guys like A.J. Green and J.J. Watt, but it amounted to really nothing. The only really successful year Arizona has had since he became GM was the Carson Palmer almost MVP year, and that was distantly in the rearview mirror this offseason, so makes sense. But again, who are you going to find willing to go into that situation, ready to clean up this mess? Because it is a bit of a mess right now. And as a Seahawks fan, I don't mind it. Kingsbury and Keim were clearly flawed, but at least they had shown an ability to do some stuff in this league. And while they probably just had to go because things had gone so badly, good luck finding somebody willing to go in there and inherit that situation. Not going to be easy. And I'm looking forward to playing this Cardinals team twice every year for the foreseeable future. All right, so that's the start of Black Monday. Obviously, the Texans kind of came out of the starting blocks early. They fired Lovie Smith last night because they were so mad at him for winning that game. So Black Monday got off to an early start there, but we've gotten off to an honest start this morning. So long, Kingsbury. So long, Keim. We'll see where Arizona goes from here. But again, as a Seahawks fan, I'm excited to play that team twice a year for the upcoming several seasons.